Hello, this is Ensign Abby, and today is February 25th, 2012. First up, what I've been up to recently. Book-wise, I have been reading this particular book, the Disneyland Encyclopedia, and it basically categorizes all of the attractions, all the restaurants, all the shops that have ever existed in Disneyland. It's just a general interesting history about the people who created the park, some of the attractions that don't exist anymore, what's currently there. But I've always been really interested in Disney in general. I grew up during the second golden era of Disney. The first movie that I remember seeing in the movie theaters is The Little Mermaid. I was about 5 years old. Funny story, actually. I was the last kid in my neighborhood to see The Little Mermaid. There was me, and there was only some cousins. They were all related to each other that lived in that area. So I was the only person in the entire town in that little area that wasn't a cousin. So when it was me playing with the rest of the kids, there was all the boy cousins and the one girl cousin, and everything was a competition between me and the girl cousin. So one day, all the boy cousins ganged up on us and said, "We're going to have a singing contest, and you two get to compete, and whoever sings the best song wins." So we started singing off all the things that we knew, and I think I started singing random things like Amy Grant and Mariah Carey. The boy cousins told the girl cousin, "If you sing the Ariel song, we'll let you win." And I said, "Well, that's not fair at all, because I haven't even seen The Little Mermaid. I don't know what you're talking about." But it didn't matter. Little girl cousin sang the Ariel song, and she won. Not fair. So I ran home just absolutely crying. My mom, when she found out what had happened, she was like, "I'll show them," to exclude my daughter in some way, shape, or form. She drove me to the nearest theater, which at the time was about 50 miles away, and she took me to see Little Mermaid that very afternoon, and we even went to a store and she bought me the cassette soundtrack of The Little Mermaid. So I would carry around the soundtrack in my little Fisher-Price cassette tape player, and I was the coolest kid in the neighborhood with all the cousins for the next few weeks. So Little Mermaid, Disney in general, has always been a pretty big part of my life. So if you love Disney, if you find just Disney in general interesting, Disneyland Encyclopedia, who knew reading encyclopedia would be so much fun, hey? Also, what I've been doing TV-wise is I've started watching Deep Space Nine. It is available on Netflix. I am a really big Trekkie, but for some darn reason, I have always avoided Deep Space Nine, and I think the main reason why I didn't watch it way back when is because I seem to think that it was cheating to have a space exploration show where you were at a space station and you weren't moving. So I liked Star Trek, I liked Next Generation, I liked Voyager, I tolerated Enterprise, but I only watched a couple of episodes of Deep Space Nine, not really even in order, and I couldn't really quite get into it initially because I just seemed to think that you aren't moving, you're not exploring, and all of it was politics, and there was a big, huge war plot arc over several seasons, so I didn't think I was going to be that much into it. So far, though, I've only watched the first 3 episodes of Season 1, the Emissary Part 1 and 2, and then the second episode. And I'm thinking I really need to give this a chance, because I can't say that I'm a Trekkie and not see all of Star Trek. I don't think it's fair, I guess, to the actual Trekkies who have devoted themselves and dressed up like Klingons and all that jazz to call myself a Trekkie and put myself in the same group as those people. So I do have a comm badge, a shiny little comm badge that I bought at the Las Vegas Experience before it shut down, which I really don't understand why they even shut that down, because now the new Star Trek 2009 movie's out, and it was awesome, and now there's renewed interest in Star Trek, so why would they shut down the experience only about a year or so before the most awesome movie ever came out? So, speaking of the most awesome movie ever, they are shooting the second in that series of the Star Trek series, and recently pictures came out that I saw on Tumblr of Benedict Cumberbatch shooting scenes with Zachary Quinto, and I am super excited about that. It's like Sherlock and Star Trek combining worlds. I love it when my favorite fandoms kind of combine. Another thing that I started watching again was Fringe. I watched, the first 3 seasons straight through, and I am like all into Fringe. I love JJ Abrams. I love the fact that he's picked up the 47 joke that ran all throughout Star Trek, and now JJ Abrams has started to incorporate 47 into all of his things. When I got into Doctor Who, that started to take over my life for a short period of time, and so I put off watching everything else just so I wouldn't get all the little fandoms and details all mixed up in my brain. But now that I'm caught up with Doctor Who and there's this big huge lull until October, I thought I would try to catch up with Fringe again. Unfortunately, since I watch Fringe and things like that on Hulu, and they only post the most 4 recent episodes, I caught up 2 days ago, and there's 2 or 3 episodes that are in between where I stopped and where I just recently started. So watching any type of Abrams show is ridiculously hard when you've missed a few episodes. Anyone who's ever watched an Abrams show knows that. I used to be a huge Alias fan. I watched the first 3 or 4 seasons of Alias, and then when I went to college, there, oddly enough, was absolutely no television. The internet didn't have awesome things like YouTube and Hulu and whatnot. I absolutely lost track of Alias, and I never went back to it because about a season later, I didn't know what was going on anymore. That's another reason why I don't even want to get into Lost. I've never watched it before, and I'm not ready to freak out and obsess about another series right now. I can't be obsessed with everything. I like to obsess about certain things to the point where I cannot absorb anymore, and then I will move on to a new obsession. That's probably why I'm such a geek. So, recommendations, moving on, what I like. If you're into fan fiction or if you're on the Tumblr crowd, there's one person I'd like to recommend. She may not know that I just love her to death, but the profile on Tumblr, Gallifrey Burning, if you look her up, she is such a great fanfic writer. She writes these Rose 10-2 fic that are adorable. Another thing I'd like to recommend if you're into watching reviews, his name is Sci-Fi Debris, or in short, SF Debris. I initially started watching him with Star Trek Voyager reviews because he both loves these shows and then just rips on them at the same time, and he's super smart about his analysis, much smarter than I am. He devoted February to Doctor Who, at least New Who, but he's got great reviews on Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Voyager, Red Dwarf, a whole bunch of stuff. I highly recommend him. I'll put his link in my comments section underneath my video. Music-wise, I obsess over music too. Go figure, I obsess over everything. Currently, my favorite song right now is Turn Me On with David Guetta featuring Nicki Minaj.
Need you back home, baby. That way you act, give me something. It needs a hero, come and save me. Something tells me you know how to save me. I've been feeling real low, oh I need you to come and rescue me. Make me come alive, come on and turn me on. Touch me, save my life, come on and turn me on. I'm so young to die, come on and turn me on. Turn me on, turn me on, turn me on, turn me on.
That song's awesome. The reason why Turn Me On is an awesome song is because it is clearly a Doctor Who song. Maybe not intentionally, but the lyrics fit so well. I could see that being the anthem of every companion who has ever run into the Doctor accidentally and he's whisked them away on an adventure and made them see more to life and has turned them on and made them alive. Maybe not really intentionally a Doctor Who song, but when I hear it on the radio, I just think of Doctor Who and I rock out. It's awesome. Final thing, I guess, is something that's been irking me. I've been seeing it on commercials. This State Farm auto insurance commercial, it irritates me. The one where they're walking down the street and the husband's got a falcon and you've got other husbands walking around with moose heads and, oh, he's got armor and I should have gotten a falcon because of the money that they save with the auto insurance. And the one thing that I notice is that all the guys are buying stupid shit. But the women, if we got suddenly extra money and we could blow it on anything, we'd probably get, Jimmy Choo shoes or a really nice massage or something that's maybe stylish and expensive, outlandish, but still practical. But this commercial seems to insist. Now, it's one thing to say, media is targeting women and making them feel like they have to be beautiful and they have to live up to this high image of girls who need a man to make them whole, and they need to be beautiful and they need to be thin. Yes, I agree with you, that exists, but I don't think people think about the stereotypes and the message that people are sending to men nowadays. People just completely blow it off. It's just as important how we treat men in this society as we do women. I didn't like the commercial simply because it seemed to imply that men are impulsive and will make stupid decisions when they're left on their own. And in general, there has been a trend, if you notice on television in the last few years, that the media in society is telling men, you are expected to be dumb. You are expected to not excel. Don't even bother trying. Do stupid things. We don't expect you to try. You see this in examples like the show King of Queens. You've got this smart, beautiful woman, but the husband, he's goofy. He makes stupid decisions. The woman is always the one who has to explain to him why they need to fix things. Everyone assumes that the woman's the smart one, the one's in control, the one that has to explain to her husband how to do things, like think things through, how to be responsible. People are listening to it, and guys especially are coming up with the idea that they don't have any responsibility. They don't need to have any responsibilities. And women in colleges, there are more women now in colleges than men. Math scores in general, women are now climbing higher in math scores than men. I'm not saying women shouldn't get an education, but the fact is that if we're disproportionate in the college and we've got clearly more women than men, then there's something obviously going on in this nation where we're making men dumber, and it's not acceptable. And I don't think commercials like the State Farm commercial are helping. So anyways, those are my thoughts for today. Feel free to contradict me. If you want to make a statement about how men are portrayed in media, go ahead. I am listening. I will not personally get angry. That's another art that we've lost nowadays, is having a debate without taking things personally. Yeah, have a good day. Mahalo.